Hello. We have 3 stories today from Pro and Petty Revenge. I wasn't sure it would happen, but the infamous subreddit is back in business, letting people post stories. And to celebrate, we have the top story since it reopened a week ago. Our first created a flurry of infighting as some people's Reddit sensibilities got bruised with this tale of catfishing and immigration hubbub. And as always, your support helps fight the Reddit bot menace. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. We start with Story 1. I blew up a romance scammer's life. This one is fresh and still unfolding, but it's already hit an explosive level. Some details intentionally vague. Context. I'm a woman in my 30s with a reasonably good corporate type job in a field with lots of room for growth and am recently back into the dating scene after a decade. I'm kind of a would-be a 10 if she lost 30 pounds looking girl, beautiful face if a bit chubby, but I never have issues getting a date. I'm not well off, but I'm stable and have a bit of spending money. I live in a large multicultural city and my ex was an immigrant, so I'm open to dating people of any origin. What happened? A few weeks ago, I met a very charming man from a Latin American country only a couple years younger than me. Seemed very sweet, cuddly, intelligent, family-oriented, emotionally available, educated, and in a good profession back home in his country, and had a lot in common with me. Chemistry seemed amazing inside and outside the bedroom. He was honest that he was in my country on a tourist visa but hoping to stay. I made it clear I wouldn't be able to help him with that, but we'd have a fun summer fling while he was here. If he managed to stay or come back, only then would we consider a real relationship. Then the other shoe dropped. A couple weeks and 4 dates in, during a text conversation with my work, he asked me to be his sugar mommy. I initially laughed and assumed it was a joke. He kept pushing and clearly said it wasn't. Of course, feeling insulted by this, I went off on him. He maintained it as a serious ask until I hit a nerve with my complaints about how embarrassed he should be to ask me that. Then he got angry and insulted me for thinking he was serious about it. No apology for being hurtful to me. Obviously, what I did next was take screenshots and cry about it to my closest friends. I was hurt that I was fooled into thinking he liked me, and that he thought I needed to pay for a man. My friends started the fuse on what happened next. One of my friends started snooping more on his online presence. Together, we found about 6 different Instagram accounts that were him, though using different variations of his name and different photos of himself. On Facebook, a similar pattern. All very scammy and suspicious looking. He'd been foolish enough on one of his profiles, though, to follow and tag the employer that he was working for illegally on his tourist visa in my country. So I contacted another close friend in a local law enforcement agency that works with immigration. She looked up his file. He had a wife and daughter at home. I released the hounds after that. The friend who helped me investigate online made several group chats on multiple platforms with all of his family, immediate and extended, and friends. She released all the screenshots as well as a rant about how shameful it was. As they started blocking her, she added more people. I found his sister's phone number. She sent her messages on there too. Everyone he knows, including his wife, know he's unfaithful and trying to take advantage of women. 30 minutes after the online bombardment started, I got a rude message from him about how I should be smart enough to know he was joking and he doesn't need to sell himself. I didn't reply. Next step? Online immigration reporting form with all the info we found. Work info, employer name and address, his home address, full name, date of birth, photos, screenshots admitting to working. Usually, these reports take months to be reviewed, if at all. But I gave the file number to my law enforcement friend. 2 days later, law enforcement officers visited him at home. They found him with a phone number that was issued to a local resident. All his roommates also had numbers issued to the same person, a direct link to the employer. He received a caution for trying to scam me, a no-contact order, and a flag on his immigration file. Based on his country of origin, that will likely mean he can never return, as well as a strict warning to not work without authorization. His roommates also received warnings. His employer received a visit next. They found significant proof that they'd been employing him illegally as well as multiple other people. Their investigation is still ongoing, but so far they are likely to receive tens of thousands in fines or possible jail time. The guy isn't getting deported because the government would have to pay for it and proceedings take longer than his remaining visa time. However, he's now upgraded from a flagged file to a multi-year ban on re-entry to my country. If he bothers me again, though, he will be deported as well. Hope he enjoys going back to his angry wife and the ridicule from everyone he knows. See ya again, never. Edit. The comments on my appearance are a tongue-in-cheek way of describing how he may have viewed me and speak more to his failure to select the correct victim profile. It's not that deep, and I don't really care about my appearance very much. Relax a bit, peeps. In the comments, Tinkerbell said, "Maybe I just haven't been on Reddit long enough, but this seems diabolical because he insulted you. Honestly, you could have just chewed him out and blocked him, but now his roommates have been burnt by him too. Just seems so over the top and extremely cruel." Coco Bello Coco added, "And pathetic. Yeah, you got played. Happens to all of us. Just move on. You went on 4 dates." Like a Living Drug said, "What is wrong with all the people in here pissing on OP for taking down a lonely, heart-scamming ring? Should she have continued to let him and the other men deceive other women as well as the government of her country? She opened up a can of whoop just trying to punish him and discovered an entire operation geared to scam people out of their money. This is wrong to you people? Yes, asking multiple people to have the same romantic relationship with you using different names is a scam. Look at who you were rooting for. What the fork is wrong with y'all?" And this, folks, is the entertainment we've been waiting for with the reintroduction of this subreddit. Ha! Seriously? The focus is on OP's weight and her description of herself, and not the scam that she uncovered. How is this any different than the online scammers that trick people into giving access to their bank accounts? They all prey on fear and insecurity. She actually may have let it go if it was just him, but she uncovered a full-on operation and likely wanted to protect others. She's pretty much a hero in my eyes. Our second story tells the tale of a lakeside showdown between an entitled Karen and the local law, when the local notorious mean lunch lady decides to mess with the wrong boat captain in Story 2. Entitled lady tries to force me to leave a public lake. I force her to leave instead. This was a few years ago. I used to work as a detective for a local police department, retired now, and this occurred when I was still employed there. In my life, I've always made every attempt to stay on the right side of the law, as I consider hypocrisy one of the worst traits for an officer of the law to have. I owned a nice ski boat, and in my spare time, I enjoyed taking my family to the local public lake to use the boat and tube, water ski, swim, etc. My kids were ages 12 and 13 at the time, and they really got a kick out of this. They wanted to go nearly every day off I had, all summer long. One day, we were at the lake, and after a few hours, my daughter mentioned she needed to use the bathroom. The lake also had a public swimming beach that had public restrooms, and we would often take bathroom breaks there. We would pull up to shore well away from the marked swimming area, and we disembarked to use the facilities. One day, as we pulled up, I noticed a lady on a lounge chair sunbathing on a shore near where we pull the boat up. I stayed about 50 feet from her, still about 250 feet away from the swimming area, as I slowly maneuvered the boat towards shore at idle. As I got close, she stood up and glared at me, while my kids whispered to me that they knew her as a mean lunch lady from their previous elementary school. As I brought the boat up to shore, this woman started yelling very loudly that I was breaking the law. I smiled, and as friendly as I could, I said, "Really? What law?" She continued yelling, saying that I was driving a motorboat in a swimming area. I pointed to the marked swimming area about 250 feet away and asked, "You mean that swimming area?" To which she replied, "Yes." I told her that I never entered or even got close to the swimming area, and that my boat was right now as close as I got. She said the law prohibits boats from pulling up to any shore. Ha! LOL. How do you get in or out of a boat? Swim? And now she was calling her son, the deputy, who was going to get me in trouble. At this point, I was starting to enjoy this a little because I thought for sure her son, the deputy, would tell his mom that she couldn't stop me from pulling my boat up to shore. I stood nearby as she calls someone, assuming her son, on her cell. She then reads the person on the phone my boat hull number. It's like a license plate for boats. Then she says, with a smirk on her face, "My son is going to order you from the lake right now." And what happens next shocked me. This woman calls me by my full name. Then she hands me the phone. Now, I should say, this was what has just happened, is a clear, very clear violation of the law. In my state, it's known as a lien violation, and police officers and deputies are very often charged with this crime. I read about it several times a year. If an officer uses his police computer to divulge personal information, say a deputy tells his mom the name of the registered owner of a boat that she is having a disagreement with, for example, it is a crime. No ifs, ands, or buts. Every cop knows this. So, as I take the phone, I immediately say, "Who is this?" I hear, "This is Deputy so-and-so of the County Sheriff Office," and I immediately interrupt him and say, "Deputy, do you know what a lien violation is?" Several seconds of silence, I say, "Deputy so-and-so," using his real name, of course, "are you still there?" He says, "Yes." So I again say, "Deputy so-and-so, let me ask you again, do you know what a lien violation is?" He stammers out a reply about boat hull numbers and public records or something. I said, "Nope, that's not what a lien violation is. Since you don't know, do I need to remind your supervisor what a lien violation is?" Again, silence. I then said, "Tell you what, I'm going to hand this phone back to your mother. Then you're going to tell your mother to leave this beach right now. Then we can all forget this ever happened. Understood?" Long silence. "Understood?" He does a long exhale and says, "Yeah, okay." I hand the phone back to his mother. She whispers into the phone for a few seconds, then angrily snaps her phone shut. Without making eye contact, she packs up her stuff and is gone. I thought about reporting him anyway, but technically I was the victim, yet I wasn't feeling victimized at all. So I let it go. Only one other time did I see the lady at the beach again, and as she saw me, she again immediately packed up her stuff and again left. In the comments, Zellas said, "She's done this before many times." Tat Pig replied, "I bet she uses her son, the deputy, as a club anytime she doesn't get her way." MGC said, "I asked my brother-in-law, police officer, to look up a license plate once. He refused. He said if they had a warrant, then he would have to investigate. The department would also ask why he looked up the license plate and he would have to explain. He didn't explain the lien law, though. Thanks for the knowledge enhancement." Navaroni replied, "Yep. Years ago, I asked my then soon-to-be father-in-law if he had ran my info since he was the captain of the police force in a small town. His response was something like, 'I don't need to lose my job to know you were probably a dipstick when you were younger.'" It's these types of laws and policies that maintain balance in society. Can you imagine all the Kens and Karens of North America running rampant, wielding this type of power? Unrestricted access to people's private information, which they deliberately use to get their own way? Oh, I shudder to think. I mean, poor OP was just trying to access the facilities almost a full soccer field away from the swimming area. Side note, this applies here too. Can confirm. Criminal charges can result in Canada, eh? Our third story is the shortest, but gave me the biggest laugh of the bunch as one DIY detective outsmarts his not-so-smooth criminal neighbor along with the local police. In Story 3, Scumbag neighbor broke into my vehicle and stole my stuff, so I returned the favor. I rented a duplex in my early 20s. My neighbor was a wannabe gangster type and made the mistake of breaking into my vehicle one night. I had a small SUV with a removable soft top, so the neighbor figured it would be easy pickings to just peel back the top and help himself to my stereo, amplifier, CDs, and some other miscellaneous stuff. I discovered the break-in early in the morning after it occurred. I knew for certain who the culprit was. We were not in a heavily populated area, and my neighbor was well known for thievery. I waited around for him to leave his place, and when the opportunity arose, I went around the back of the house and looked through the bedroom window to find that, sure enough, my stuff was sitting right on the floor in there. I instinctively tried the window, and as luck would have it, the sash went right up. Bingo! I hopped through and quickly surveyed the items laying around. It occurred to me that I could get some excellent revenge here if I played it right. So rather than just recoup my stuff and wind up in a fight over it, I borrowed a marker and proceeded to write my name on all my stuff and also a few choice items of his just for good measure. I then climbed back out the window and waited. When he finally came back, I called for some police presence and explained to them how my vehicle got robbed, and I knew it was the neighbor due to seeing through the window. We knock on his door, and I can still remember the look on his face seeing me and the cop standing there. He was not even close to ready for the encounter and almost certainly had drugs on him, so he was very cooperative given the circumstances. I politely explained that I know he broke into my vehicle and I needed him to return my stuff immediately, or I will have to press charges. He went and retrieved my things, and I pointed out my name written on them to the officer. I asked about my other stuff, while he looked back puzzled and dumbfounded. I rattled off the other couple of choice items of his that I also put my name on earlier. The look on his face while he handed over his stuff to me while the cop was standing there was priceless. In the comments, Pomo Populus asked, "This is a good one. Did he learn his lesson, or is there more to the story?" OP replied, "He actually wound up in jail for something else not too long after this, so that's all there was to it." Coder Joe said, "Uno reverse card, played perfectly." Foot of Orion replied, "Don't steal neighbor's stuff or draw 25. Rain added, 25 to life. As a burglar, I wonder what that face actually looked like as the police helped him get robbed. And then, doing nothing about it? I wonder, was this just a case of game recognizing game? I mean, he did let OP take the win since he was crafty enough to break in and claim the goods and then some. And that's it for today. Until next time, shine bright, Starlight. Yahoo! If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.